Welcome to another episode of Drive into the Rez with your favorite hosts,
Inelia
and
Larry. Yes.
Yeah, we just got out of German class.
We did.
Welcome in. We got it.
Welcome in.
Yeah. There's a few words that are a bit complicated, right?
Yes.
You hear them and then you go, and the grammar, the way the things are like one than the other than the other. The whole sentence is structured completely different.
Yeah. Super interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We're deconstructing the fear processing exercise.
Yeah.
Translating it from English into German. Then we English speakers read the German after someone teaches us how to say the words. And then we deconstruct how it's said in German using the translators like wiggled around. So yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, I don't know if it sounds fun, but it actually is fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the other thing that I noticed is before German class, you might have like 7 things to do and got things on your mind, and maybe your frequencies run in about maybe 6 or 7 or 3 or even
out of 10.
And and then at the end of class, you're back to 10.
Yeah.
It raises your frequency.
It does. Yeah.
So if you're needing a frequency booster,
go to walk with me now and take German class.
Go to walk with me now, take German class. I'm sure it's the same with the French class.
Oh my God, yes.
Because at the end of French class, you guys are all giggling and laughing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the same with the Spanish, yeah?
Yep. Well, I don't know. I haven't been to the Spanish class. I don't know if there's a Spanish class.
Oh,
I know there's an English class.
You just have a Spanish
group.
Yeah,
that was very, very cool. Very nice.
So if you're a Spanish speaker, you might join the Spanish group, or can you?
Oh, yeah. Walk with me now. Go to there.
Oh, you can find the Spanish group at Walk With Me Now too?
Yeah. And then we have English class. So people who don't speak English very well, they can go to English class and Walk With Me Now.
Wow.
High frequency English class. Who knew?
Okay, I guess that covers all the classes.
Yeah.
And those ones cost, how much do those cost?
They're included, I suppose, because it's the members that are organizing all this. So
it's kind of like what Walk With Me Now was kind of designed to be about.
Oh, absolutely, right. Yeah.
So me and Walk With Me is
you.
Yeah, cool. Mm-hmm. It's nice to see a thing come together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I really did enjoy class today.
It was fabuloso. Fabulous.
I know we're supposed to end our podcast in French. Remember?
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's right. But I didn't write down the sentence I'm supposed to say.
Well, hopefully you can remember between now and then.
Oh, my goodness.
Because it's going to be important. You can't end it in English if you have to end it in French. So you better tap into your memory.
Mon chéri.
Mon chéri?
Something like that.
Okay. Well, we're not at the end yet.
I don't know. I probably said I am love, my dear.
Okay. Well, part of it is to learn the language, I'm sure. A large part. But, a large part of it is to raise your frequency and join in.
Funnily enough, though, we are learning the languages.
Yeah, there's a part. That's a part to it. I didn't say
it's slow, but it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, we know fabelhaft.
Yes.
Is that the right way?
I don't know. I know willkommen.
Willkommen and fabelhaft. Fabelhaft is fabulous.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Pretty sure it's fabelhaft.
Yeah.
That was our favorite word of the day.
Yeah.
So
it's
just
been really
the mere joining in and focusing on a high frequency thing with high frequency people raises your frequency.
It does.
It's amazing.
Amazing. Really amazing.
Plus, it's funny to listen to Lee. Speak German with his English accent.
Yes. Yeah. He's got a very good English accent in German.
He's got a very excellent German English accent.
Yes. I have no idea what our accents are. Yours is extremely good. I'm suspicious.
What's funny too is how good we are at translating the words into English using the chat.
Yes.
So our teacher was saying, what do you think this means?
And our
other teacher is translating it and putting it in the chat. So we just sort of like, Then we look at the chat a little bit and go, could it be about like this? And
she said, oh, very good.
Oh, you guys keep getting this. You're so good.
Until I gave the game away.
You gave the game away, yeah. And then she started
I shouldn't have said anything.
quite fun.
Yeah.
So, anything on your mind this week?
Yeah. Our last Monday's podcast about are you done with this stuff, right? I had enough of this, that energy.
Yeah.
It's had a lot of feedback. It's had a lot of people, talking about it. But also, one aspect that I've noticed this week, is that it's an energy of being really, really angry about stuff, even the tiny little things, getting triggered, very irritated. It's
Very
an irritable.
short-fused.
Remember that energy coming up from California?
Yeah.
That I kept trying to express, but I couldn't quite get the words. It was like, irritated was part of it. Upset. Anxious.
Right
on the edge. They had all these words that came close to it, but there was nothing quite describing it.
Yeah.
And that's what's been happening to us now. Physically speaking, I haven't been very well the past week. I've been having high fevers and things like that most days, with headaches and things. My chest was hurting. I hadn't done that for a long time. With the lungs, not the heart or anything like that.
Right.
My lungs were pretty weak. And I've been using the Brown's gas to help, and it has actually helped quite a lot. But yeah, it's been that amount of stuff, and I've been very interested in looking at the energy of health and how that is changing. We talked a little bit about that person who talked in a podcast about remote viewers. A man did a research with remote viewers, about 1,000 of them or something, looking into 2050.
Right.
And one of the things that really struck to me was that there was no sickness, that people were no longer sick. And to me, that represents a shift, that represents a very big part of the new paradigm. And changing our concept of what health is and what sickness is key. And I think that the person leading, one of the individuals leading this into the new paradigm is Dr. Cohen and friends, right? They are leading the new viewpoint of what health is forward. And it's not like completely new, because health systems like
So
the
this
Chinese,
is 1910, 1920, yeah.
No, I'm talking about ancient Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic. I can't remember the name, but the Indian and the shamanic medicines. All of these were medicines that were closer to the core issues of the human condition, right? And you might think, well, if shamanic medicine was so good, why did so many natives from all over the world die from all these European diseases? And one of the reasons, and I know this from family history, one of the first people that the conquerors killed when they reached a new place were the healers and the shamans and the wisdom keepers. They did that on purpose. And then they demonized them, and of course, this is also translated in the burning of witches all over Europe. This is what they were doing, right? They were killing the knowledge and the wisdom kept, and the lineages that kept this wisdom on the planet, which is how to keep ourselves healthy, long lives and healthy, right? And when I looked at things such as the length of time people live and the health that they have, and one of the things like dogs, for example, I remember somebody saying to me, cats and dogs, and they have these, your German Shepherd's average lifespan is about 12 years, something like that, right?
Right.
And larger the dog, the shorter the lifespan. And I remember a friend of mine from England, and her cat died after 21, 22 years old or something like that. right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my grandpa's cat when I was 6 years old, and he died, and he was like ancient, like 30 years, and he was walking around and everything, you know. And I saw a movie or a documentary, I can't remember, and this guy was saying, I don't understand why all these lifespans are saying like 15 years or 12 years, 18 years for dogs, when I remember as a fact when I was a young man, and this was an older man, when I was a young man, I was a kid, our dogs used to last 30 years, you know, or more.
Wow.
So what happened? And the other guy said, well, it's kibbles.
Oh, the
Kibbles happened. And vaccinations happened. And now they have to normalize the early death and sickness of all these dogs, and all these things that are happening to them. They've got to normalize them, right? And I was thinking, well, what about humans? And I remember when I was in Vilcabamba, in Ecuador, they talked, and it was normal for the local people that lived up in the mountains or whatever to live way past 120, 130, you know?
Don't know.
And they would say, oh, you know, trying to say why. Oh, it could be water. The water somehow has something in the water. Or maybe it's the diet. You know, and this guy's, one of the guys is like, that thought it was the diet, went to interview this man and says, what do you eat? I eat rice and beans. And that's what I eat, because that's all you can grow around here, rice and beans, you know. And so it was like, probably not the diet.
Yeah.
But this guy who was really into diet said that's it, right? So that's all he would eat. So to me, the viewpoint of what health is completely, radically going back to its original knowing and wisdom that human collective had coming in, and the supportive environment is a supportive environment rather than a toxic environment. And I was watching the health event, a recording from the health event that Dr. Cohen and friends did last weekend, and immediately began there, right?
Mm-hmm.
The toxicity of our environment. And why do people get sick? Is because it's a period of exuding, like getting rid of the toxins in their body when it becomes too much, right? And the amount of toxins, I mean, I only listened to 2 minutes of this lecture, and the guy had mentioned 100 toxins already of everyday things, you know, like, okay, everything that's plastic in your house, and we live in an RV, and everything is plastic in it. Everything exudes those chemicals that give you all of these poisons into your body, and you breathe them in, you touch them, it comes in through your skin. And it was so like the fire retardants, everything's covered in fire retardant, and that is extremely poisonous. It's worse than lead. It actually lowers your IQ, and even children's pajamas are covered in them that you can buy at the store. And it's like, what? I was looking at it, yeah, toxicity, which is funny because just a couple of days earlier I was thinking about how toxic the world felt right now. Mm-hmm. Not just at a chemical level, but also energetically. And we'll go back to that feeling of, that intense feeling of irritation. That's frequency, that's energy, that's like an electrical thing, like waves that coming through, right? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, oh, it'd be nice, maybe it's because we have so many Wi-Fis and radios and whatnot, TVs and stuff in the house, at the shaman shack or whatever's, but we switch them all off at night, right? So you should be able to get that level and time of peace, right? So your body can repair, detox, and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
But it's not happening, right? It's like at night, it's very stressful. You wake up stressed, and all these things just compounds and compounds. And I thought, well, we could go to the land maybe. And when we were there, it's like, it's no different. You know, it's in the air. It's like being broadcast. It's blanketed. The whole place is blanketed with these energies. And if you're not aware, you start blaming other people situations. Oh, such and such didn't say thank you, or they keep attacking me, or blah, blah, you know. we externalize the feelings and we demonize other people. And you have to be very aware and conscious of who are you demonizing when these things are happening. Because if you're indulging in low frequency things, it's very, very likely that the people that you demonize are the highest frequency people in your environment. Because that's what it's designed to do, right? Attack the non-vaccinated people, blame them for everything, blame whomever, right? And if you're indulging in that negative thing, it's not like who is responsible, who's able to respond to this, who caused X, Y, and Z, right? If I feel irritated, angry, and upset at a group of people, I have to think, okay, I'm the common denominator here. So what am I doing that is annoying the crap out of me when they whatever, right? And I look at it and think, oh yeah, I was totally indulging in such and such an energy, which I was doing unconsciously, and I see it and I drop it. And what happens then is like freedom happens, but the underlying annoyance, energy, scratch, poking is still there because it's artificial, right? So to me, when this used to happen to me in the past, I would go to a mountain, high up in a mountain, or I would go to an ocean and get in the water no matter how cold it was. I just get in the water, right?
You
to
gotta
me,
be serious about it around here.
Salty water or like mountain vibrations were the best. And yesterday, funnily enough, we were listening to something about ions, and
I was reading out loud to
that's
you,
right.
honey.
You were reading a book to me about ions.
About ions, yeah. Negative ions, which isn't the bad kind.
No, it's
not
actually
like
the
bad
good
ions.
stuff for you.
It's good for you ions, even though it says negative
negatively
ions.
charged
It's just
ions.
the negatively charged ions.
Yeah, and electric
They
terminology.
have them around waterfalls. They have them
ocean.
around ocean shores. They have them, if you have an ionizer in your house, or a Himalayan salt crystal thing with the light in it that emits those negative ions. And those generate a feeling of well-being and happiness. And and most of our inside of our houses, the heaters and the walls and the things like that, generate positive ions, which creates that other feeling.
Yeah.
The electrical appliances, electronics, the Wi-Fi's, the computers, the things like that, those also generate positive ions, which also creates that energy. Positive ion. Kind of doesn't make you feel good.
No.
It's just kind of like malaise and I guess the transmitted feeling, irritated, yeah. So that's kind of why when you go to the seashore, you're breathing in all these negative ions and it elevates your mood. You feel like things are right in the world again.
Yeah,
or you go to a waterfall, obviously.
Yeah.
There were a few other ways to generate those ions, which help your mood.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be hard. You can make it easier on yourself.
Exactly.
If you don't have an ocean by you and you don't have a waterfall by you, which is, I think, most everybody has one or the other. I guess in the desert you don't have a waterfall.
No, they don't.
So in the desert, are they all crabby all the time?
Well,
I remember being kind of crabby in the desert last time we were there.
Probably,
Remember the only sense of relief that we finally got was when we finally got to the ocean and went to the beach and went down on the rocks and just sat there in the stones for a half hour.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It made a mountain of a difference.
It did. A huge difference.
So that must... Oh, the rain. Rain brings in the negative ions too.
That's right, yeah.
Because the moving water. Yeah. So we're going to look into getting an ionizer for in our house. Since we have a house that's a bit plasticky and a bit computery and a bit, positive ion generator. We have a positive ion generator for a house.
How many devices do we have here right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 devices. 7, 8, 9.
And I haven't put in
10.
It's even the electrical wires.
All the lights as well. All these new low
LED lights are blinking like a million times a second.
Those are very irritating to your system.
Yeah, so to compensate for that in our living environment, we'll figure out how to generate negative ions.
Yeah. So
get some of those salt lamps, which we have at the Fossil Beach. I have one of those. Remember how nice that is? It has a song goes with it, and it makes that warm glow. Also, an ionizer, whatever that is.
I used to have them. I used to have those in California. In the bedrooms, I would put those little machines that you put in, and they ionize negatively, negative ions coming out. Like the words is all wrong because it's good for you. And I remember one of the things that used to happen when I bought those, they said just put your nose right close to it and you can smell the mountain. Nice. I thought, I wonder if it's true, and I did, and you could. And one of the things that I found to be fascinating is that under the ionizer, the whole wall and the floor was covered in black particles, and I couldn't understand why that was.
Yeah.
And it's because it's like the positive ions, like the heavy metals, they're covered, the air in the air, whatever, they're floating around.
Oh.
And when it becomes neutralized, they fall to the ground or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I researched it at the time, but it was something like that. But if you know what that is, and I'm wrong, then you can totally put it in the comments.
Yeah, well, it's kind of irrelevant. We'll get an ionizer or two. And we were going to put one that puts out a little bit of humidity by the intake to our heater. So when
or not
we
use
turn on
that
the
heater at all. That really messes me up. I'm like a canary. If something's bad for you, I'm going to get sick real fast.
Well, that was my solution.
Yeah, I don't think it's
it'll
going to
be
work.
like, it'll moderate the effect.
I don't think so. Do you know why?
Don't know
you why? If you put the humidifier next to the intake, when the thing heats up, the steam goes up out the chimney.
There's no chimney for this thing.
Oh.
All it is going to suck air in that's cool and moist, and it's going to exhale air that's warm and moist, and positive and negative ions will be more balanced because there's no chimney. The chimney is for the propane. What we're having an issue with, and it said it in the book, which is that forced air going through these vents.
They've always made me sick, forced air heat.
Ions.
Yeah.
Well, either way, we can experiment with a couple of things and see if we can figure out a way to make it so it doesn't.
Yeah. I filled the place with plants because I know they help. But maybe we don't have enough plants in here.
Well, maybe when we make our little greenhouse thing on the front door, we can leave
that
that
open.
It'll be full of
plants.
positive or negative ions. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. The negative ions, which are
the negative
positive
ions,
for you.
which makes you feel good, will be coming in through the plants, maybe. I don't know. It's worth a try.
Yeah, we can try it.
Just do the things that help you feel better.
Yeah.
You're helping yourself keep your frequency higher, which is your job.
Yes.
Right? Isn't that your main job?
That is it, your main job, yeah.
So theoretically, we should go out in the backyard and build a mud house with no wires of electricity in it, and not have any.
Exactly.
And then just live in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You got it.
Or at least have one for a refuge.
Yep. Somewhere you can
spend an hour or two
in it, so that you can let your body have that
peace
break.
You know?
Yeah.
We'll have a waterfall in it. Or something like that.
So this conference, if you can, we'll put the link to it. You have to buy it, download the recordings, because it really explores a lot of things that we have to be aware of to change our concept of reality and the reality of health on the planet.
Right,
it's
because
very important as far as I'm concerned.
Every response that we have right now is pre-programmed to be, you're sick and you need medicine.
Yes,
but that's not the fact. Oh yeah, well that's also definitely one of them.
Yeah.
You're sick, you need medicine.
Yeah.
There's no other. It's that,
That's
right?
it, yeah.
That's the answer. Sick, you need medicine, or you need a vaccine to stop you getting sick.
Right.
But it doesn't even explore the concept of energy, or like this little, the sound. What's the sound things? What are those called? Tuning forks?
Tuning fork therapy?
Right, we're listening to a lady talk about her tuning fork therapy, and she was doing massages for 30 years.
Yeah, she is.
And while she's doing massages, she experiments with whatever, shows up, and she says, hey, that's interesting, I'll check it out. And so she checked out these
the sound therapy
things.
Stuff, yeah,
and while she was doing it, she noticed it worked, and she had feedback from it. It was like something that she really I guess you can only use the word resonated positively with, right?
Yes.
And
yeah, it's fascinating. I can't wait to try that, to see,
Yeah.
I mean, you give the body half a chance and it will survive. It's one of the things that I've always said. I mean, bodies are very resilient, and they will give them a chance, give them a bit of support, and they'll respond extremely positively.
Right.
Very positively. I mean, I was told I would never have use of my hand, and I can use it, right? I was told that my brain damage it's impossible to fix it. And you saw the other day, how many numbers did I...
It was stunning, and you were so happy.
Yeah.
I think it was a complete phone number.
Yeah. Yep.
Very good, honey.
Yeah. So it does work, but we need to change our concept of what health is and realize that viruses don't exist. Realize it.
Well, to say that viruses doesn't exist isn't exactly the right way to think about it. Just that viruses that are being shown this is a virus thing
is
not a causative agent to make you sick.
There's things that people call viruses
that look like a virus, and they call it that's a virus.
That's a virus.
That's a response.
They look like a virus because they told you that's what a virus looks like.
Precisely, yeah.
But in fact, it's something completely different that the body's doing, right?
Yes.
And exuding and getting rid of, but it's not the actual thing that's making you sick.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So the other thing is to, when you figure out another, I guess, narrative, another story that goes along with the experience of getting sick, and you have another narrative saying, oh, I'm flushing, maybe that might be flushing my toxic load.
Yeah.
What do you do to support that?
Exactly.
Versus, how can I stop myself from flushing my toxic load? You could see where that's going to lead if you stop yourself from flushing your toxic load. What does that mean? Your toxic is worse and worse. So then it has to be excreted in an even worse or harder, more difficult way.
Yeah.
So if you're regularly, I guess, releasing the toxic buildups in the ways that your body releases the toxins, then you're less likely to need a big one, a big dump.
Right.
And big dumps, they still aren't going to be probably necessary if you have like a full systemic overload of electricity, because guess what? Our environment is electrical everywhere around us. Everywhere you go and everywhere you sleep, everything is run by electricity around us. That is a toxin.
It is. Yeah.
Well, not so much. It disturbs the electric connection that you already have with the planet, for example.
Oh, definitely.
By overwhelming it with a different load.
Yeah. Nice.
So it needs to be detoxed, I guess, in a way. So the way that we detox is fever, sweat, the other ways that you eliminate fluids and solids from your body. And if those aren't enough, then you have all the water in your body goes from jelly state to liquidy state, and it flushes. And that looks a lot like you're sick.
Dehydration and death.
Dehydrated, and you can get dehydrated and die if you dump all your water and you don't replenish it. But if you're supporting your replenishment of the fluid, you'll be fine. Yeah. Acknowledging if you're like doing a bit of detox every day. In other words, like you sweat. Sweating's a good one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You raise your body temperature through exercise. You take a run up the mountain to go get you some food instead of just sitting at the bottom of the mountain and waiting for somebody to go to the top of the mountain and get the food. You'd either go to the mountain and get the food. You use your body like it's designed, right? Then that little bit of sweat exudes a bit of the toxins, and it continuously happens over the period of time. You don't have to have a big dump.
Right.
But the world that we live in and the reality we live on, occasionally these big dumps are going to come. So you can make them more comfortable for you, but you can also acknowledge, hey, a little bit of heat, a little bit of fever, it's what my body needs to flush. So allow it to happen, and if I need some rest, I can turn it off for the night and get some rest and then let it come back in the morning maybe.
Yeah.
I can rest a little bit, allow the flush to happen. I can kick my feet up, read a book. Those kind of things. You just support the process instead of blocking it.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is to say also, people do die from their toxic overload trying to flush.
Yes, they do.
And some people die from slipping on their stairs.
Yes.
Some people die from crashing their car.
Yep.
People die from a million jillion things.
Yep.
Those are points that you've put in to exit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They're not an accident, and they're chosen.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're chosen for whatever purpose it is that you made these choices. Sometimes, I suppose, in your plan, you can make a choice that doesn't support your plan, and you say, "Oh, damn it, I didn't mean to do that."
Now it's messed up my entire life.
Now I messed up my entire plan. Now I have to start over. You know, that's like, oh, you have to start over.
Yeah.
Or you have to shift your plan or whatever. I mean, those things are as part of the existence, right?
Right, right.
But for the most part, most of the time, exits are chosen and methods of exit are chosen also that are supportive of your life plans. Mm-hmm. And I don't say life plan, but life plans, because you plan for more than one life.
Oh, yeah. Usually it's not just one life that you plan, it's several, 10,
multiple lives
100,
that build on
1,000
another
lives.
And support another person and another person and another person and your joint plan together, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
So this is to say that it's like that saying from Cliff, it's fatal, but it's not serious.
Right.
It does feel serious.
It does feel very serious, yeah.
But it actually is not.
Right. Yeah.
Tough one.
Yeah, it is.
So if you find yourself sick, usually you ask, how is this supporting or serving me in some way?
Yeah. There's several things. Last week we talked a little bit about that, what to do when you find yourself you're sick. Mm-hmm. We talked in last week's episode, we talked about the balance, being out of balance or balanced. The main one that I use that I forgot to talk about last week was, how is this serving me? Mm-hmm. Right? How is this condition serving me? And I've talked about this quite a lot, especially from the brain damage or the inability I have to use my hands for very long. Like the other day, I used the blower thing to clean the front of the house and our outdoor tub area and our labyrinth, our portal. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed it. I was thoroughly enjoying the whole process of it. But when I finished, I noticed that I couldn't use my hands anymore. They were over, right?
You used them up.
I used them up, it was too much, and I tried to drink a glass of water and I dropped it because I couldn't hold a glass of water.
I hope you didn't use one of the thin glasses.
No, it was a mug.
One of the tough ones. Actually, that doesn't matter if it breaks, drop it.
It was a mug.
Okay, good.
I saved it, but it's like, oh, dang it. So how does it serve me, right? How does that serve me? Mm-hmm. How does it serve others? From typing in a little bit on the energies, my going through that served me in a way of I got more energized of being more persistent with the bronze water, the AquaCure machine, because it does feel it, and I think that there's a couple of other things that I can do that will also go ahead and do it. How does it serve? Well, those conditions, the conditions of my arms being like that, no longer serve me. I'm not gonna be like climbing rock faces in mountains without ropes anymore, so it's not gonna stop me doing that. I'm not gonna become obsessed with music to the detriment of everything else, right? Including health. So it does no longer serve me. I don't have that type of energy anymore of behind those obsessions. And so I can actually cure it now. So all of the other is like a story, like a history, or like a believable healing story for me. I was just looking for that, and I found it. How is this week's temperatures and everything and feeling unwell served me? Like I said, in a way, I'm like the canary. I'm extremely sensitive to energies and things. So if something affects me, I will look at it. But if it's affecting somebody else and they're going crabby or whatever, I just ignore them. I'm not really looking at what's going on, right? What's causing this? Because it's like that's their job, right? It's not my job. So to me, it served in a way that I could become interested in the pulse of the human collective again, to check out, hey, what's going on here? Also, I know that I have certain likes and dislikes about life on Earth. And when I put up with, unquote, stuff that I don't actually like, sometimes I have to retreat and have me time or like less toxic time, right? And it feels like becoming aware of all these toxins is very important, both for us and for everybody who's listening to what we do and say. So I knew coming into this RV that we're living in that it was toxic for me. I knew it was toxic, and I put plants up, and I have a air purifier that I keep forgetting to turn on. But at first I was very diligent putting it on all the time. Of the off-gassing that is in here, including the artificial lights and the what is those type of lights, that the modern ones, LED lights, are very toxic for me. Devices, we switch them all off at night, but still we might have I noticed that I switched off the hotspot on my phone, but other phones can still see it. So what's going on there? Right? So all these things, I've been very diligent about looking at and being more conscious of the toxins that are around us. And yeah, this has been like, don't ignore type energy that has served me in that way. Don't ignore it. You know what this is about. You're extremely sensitive to these things. Other people can stand them way better than me. But it's like, yeah, listen to it. And the listen to it is also take action, right? Energy flows. Life and houses and land has energy lines, and they have flows of energy. And I studied feng shui quite a long time ago, and one of the things that I learned about it and that I found to be fascinating, I tested and it was right, was to look at going to a room and see where your energy is flowing and where it's stagnant or is kind of clogged up, right? And it was like, in most Western homes, your furniture is stuck against the walls, which stops the energy from flowing around, right? Stops it. So in feng shui, you don't have anything against the walls. You allow the energy to flow freely. When you're looking into a land, you need to have the energies flowing that can flow all around. So when I walk the land, I would see, okay, what's stopping me, or what's stopping the flow of energy here? Can I get through there to walk all the edges of your property? And if there's something that's stopping it, you move it, you make a channel for that energy to flow freely. I remember once in 1990s, I was living at the Ahumada house in Chile, and it's a very large house, and it's all colonial house in the city. It's a city house. And one of the doors in the rooms had been blocked, and actually a wall placed there to that the room one of the rooms was completely cut off from the rest of the house, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to live there, my auntie said, you can have those rooms there, like the East Wing or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have those rooms. And I looked and I saw that particular door, it used to be there. I remember it from when I was a child, there was a door there. So it was about unblocking, removing the wall, finding the door and opening it. So I paid a contractor to come and create a new room there, like reconnected. I told him where the door was, and he was working all day on it. I remember a couple of days working and releasing this door, and he was having issue after issue after issue, lots of problems. And all of a sudden, I was in the kitchen, and I felt the door open. It felt like a whoosh energy. Suddenly, the whole house energy was unblocked, and it started flowing properly. And I go, whoa, he did it. And I looked over, in that second I looked over, and he went flying out of one room, trying to keep himself up because he was kind of falling, trying to flying, and he knocked himself against the other wall on the other side of the room that he had come into. And he's like, whoa, I've never had that before. I don't know what happened. It was almost like somebody pushed me, he said. It was like, and I said, yeah, it's all about flow, And the most amazing thing about all that was that the next day I was chatting with my brother who lived in Spain at the time, and I was in Chile. This is all in Chile, right? And he said, I had the weirdest dream last night. He said, what happened? I dreamt about the blah blah room. There was the one that was blocked. And that I've been trying for years to get through that door, to get to the other side, to the main part of the house. And I haven't been able to, and I tried for years to get through. But last night, it was suddenly, it just burst open. It was like a whoosh. He said, he used the same words, a whoosh. And it was like flown through, like it was like thrown, and he flew through it in his lucid dream, his lucid dreaming, flew through it and to the other side, and now he was able to access the rest of the house. So it's amazing. I don't know what happened. Did you do something there? And so I told him all the story about what happened, what I'd done with this contractor and his experience. So the flow of energy is really important, and the whole how is it serving me thing is like figuring out where the blocks are, the energetic and the flows of energy, the chi, where is it blocked, where is it, and looking broadly, it's like if this house or this environment is really annoying me, where are all these blocks, what's going on here, right? And then do it, walk around where you live or your room, right? Is it full of stuff? Can you get in and out properly? Or, How is it working? What's it doing? Your workshop, is it flows properly or is it stuck? Your bedroom, right? And then you can, in feng shui, there's remedies, right? You can remedy the situation. They have lots of little gadgets and things that you can research and do. To fix the flow of energy, the chi energy, the flow that goes through your house, through your bedroom, through your different rooms in the house. So, it's like ancient technology, right? But in our bodies, it's also about that. It's like, where's the block? It's like, it does feel that way. Feels like a block that needs to be unblocked. And then you can create and summon believable stories that will help you in that healing. And it helps, and it works. It really does.
Sometimes, in the case of what you're talking about, it sounded like where your hands hurt, you can't use your hand. How is it serving you? In the case of then, it was so you don't become obsessed with music instead of doing the things that you're here to do that don't involve becoming obsessed with music, for example. Because your want to become, your personality is such that you would at the time have gotten obsessed with music and just thought about music and heck with everything else.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And that's a thing. Now another thing is on the fall time, my body flushes the toxins.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't have a how is this serving me purpose that it's stopping you from making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or something. It's just a flush.
Yes.
It's just the nature of your human body. It needs to flush the toxins that you've built up.
Right.
It doesn't have a bigger purpose.
Right, it's the flush, yeah.
That is the purpose. The purpose is flushing toxins, for example. So sometimes it's an apple. Mm-hmm. It's not
there's no
planting
larger,
apples, and it's a big thing that is the end of the world or the start of the world to make you or force you to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. Sometimes it is just human body mechanics.
Yeah.
So also getting tune-ups and interfering with things, it's like mucking up the works, right?
Yeah.
So I was reading about vaccinations from the concept of the viruses were the cause of the thing. So they give the little weak virus and they put it in there, and that stops the other virus particles from becoming more, and it basically stops the entire flush process.
Mm-hmm.
Which, from the aspect of you're less sick, I guess it's true. You got less sick.
I guess
but from the aspect of you need to flush this out, and now you've stopped it, it's going to later, and maybe not a lot later, but sooner or later, is going to manifest as something even bigger. And I think that bigger thing oftentimes is things like cancers, giant. So anyway, it's valuable to have enough knowledge that you don't interfere with processes, but I also understand the processes and why and what you're holding on to things if you really want to know what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And understand, to me also, it's like understanding that your body is extremely good at getting rid of toxins, but not the levels of toxins that we're subjecting them to these days. It's like it's an overwhelm of toxins. I mean, I came into the planet. Mm-hmm. One of the things I felt was it was a toxic place. It was energetically toxic, psychically toxic, chemically toxic. Right. So it's like society was toxic. People were toxic. And the paints and plastics, everything was toxic. That's how I grew up. And my sister always said, it's almost like you're allergic to everything because you keep the world at bay. It's like you're trying to push it away. It's like, no, it's like the freaking thing is toxic, I'm just more sensitive to those toxins because I was, God knows why. But anyways, it feels like, yes, those, like now we have flus every year, but I don't remember that when I was little. I don't remember that happening. People got colds every now and then. Right, but it was, it felt different, and I remember having a sickness. I remember being sick. I think it was mumps or something like that, and it was really unpleasant to me. It was painful. There's fever. There's all these other things, and then afterwards I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to get sick anymore. And I didn't. Mm-hmm. I didn't get sick for a long, long time. It's years. I mean, you're, 3 years old, and then you're 7.
That's and like your whole life.
More than your half your life. And then one day, somebody was sick, and I thought, oh yeah, I remember. I think I want to go through that again. And the next day I was sick. Right? I was very, very sick. So, and I saw, oh, you choose it. I remember thinking that you choose it. So there, even if your body's flushing or whatever, your body got toxified in the first place, and how does that serve you? So even if you're sick because it's a natural detoxification of your body that once a year, twice a year, or 3 times a year, you chose in some sort of way to become full of toxins, right? Intoxicated or toxified or whatever, It's still a choice. When we came to live in this RV, I knew what was happening here. And it was still a choice to move into here. And I did a few little things, that will stop it a little bit. Lots of plants and the air purifier and making sure you open the windows every day and all these type of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
To minimize it. But when we use all the Wi-Fis and we use all the iPads and phones and computers and laptops and all that, I know I'm extremely aware that all of those are toxins, but I choose to use them. Right? So it's like, how do they serve me? Like we couldn't possibly be having our own podcast show if we didn't use them. So it's serving in that way. But how much do you then need to detoxify? Right? And then when you do have what you call the dump of detoxification, when you get like flu-like symptoms and or other sicknesses, right, gastroenteritis or whatever it is. I had food poisoning in the past, It's like a immediate, your body's like, get rid of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I chose to eat that food. You see? So it's like, it's not completely separate from the other. It's still a choice, and how does it serve you at the moment, at the time? There's still that. And people do get upset sometimes when they have cancer or post-traumatic stress or whatever. And I say, how is that serving you? It's like, I'm not doing it because it helps me or serves me. What are you talking about? They get really upset about it. But then if they go past the upset, they start looking at, oh, wow, yeah, it's serving me to see that I'm actually in a very toxic environment and I have to deal with that. I have to get rid of some of these toxins in my life, right? For example. And yeah, so it's like it does go back, it does move back to that. It's still, at the end of the day, still, how is this serving me? Even if it's a natural thing that happens to your body. Because I've known people, and I still know people who haven't been sick, not with a cold, not even a cold, for years and years. And they're still in toxic environments and all the rest, so what's going on there, right?
Well, there's multiple things, though. That's the point. Sometimes it's just an apple. In this case...
But you choose to eat the apple. Why did you choose to eat the apple?
In this case, you use Wi-Fi for your computer when you could use a hard line. But to get a hard line would be requiring altering our lifestyle to the degree that we'd have to live where there's a line that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And that isn't where we live. We live where there is no line because we want to be outside the influence of a great number of Wi-Fis. We have our own Wi-Fi, but we don't have ours, plus our neighbors and our other neighbors and our other neighbor and our other neighbor and the guy on top of us and the 6 floors above us too.
Mm-hmm.
And the multiple frequencies and the multiple. So we have a cleaner electro environment. And we use it, but I consciously, each day that you're on a computer all day in the morning, I consciously figure out how and what way can I encourage us to go outside and do something away from all of the, electronics.
Yeah, in the
go
forest,
to the mountains, go for the hike,
the river.
Go to the beach, go to the Rez, go to the Fossil Beach, go up the mountains, go for a hike, go to the water, go to the stream, go rock climbing, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So temper that with the other so that they will neutralize each other to some degree. Create a little bit of sweat, move the cycle, move the body, move the blood, move the water, re-solidify it, flush.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ingest, then flush. And try to consciously do that. If you consciously do it, then probably you won't have a larger need.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my choice and your choice to have me in your life to do that with you.
Yeah.
And your own choice to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're like, I'm going to go to McDonald's for a month so that I have to have a big flush. I mean, really? That's... I don't know. On the other hand, little exposure to little toxin means you have resistance to exposure to toxin, and the pathways to releasing it are built up better up to a point. And everybody's body's different. It's not like there's any one type of body.
Right.
There's many different bodies, many different strengths, many different capabilities, many different, I will call them hangovers from past lives.
Yeah.
Many different plans for experience this life, many different concepts of what a life is supposed to be. So maybe this one's about karma, and I need to pay shit back. And you brought that one with you, and you still want that one, so you do stuff. So yeah, the details are almost infinite.
Oh yeah.
It's like the combination of a 10-number lock. The combinations are almost untangleable.
Yeah.
But if the your particular individual experience, whatever experience it is that someone else is having, or I'm having, or you're having, they are individual. I think that's kind of the point. So yeah, somebody can have a life where they eat junk food and they don't get sick, and they drink whiskey and they live to 110 every day. But if you were to drink whiskey every day, I don't think you'd make it to 110.
No, probably not at the end of the week even.
Right, different bodies.
Because alcohol brings in demons.
They would have a fun time trying to take you out.
Oh yeah.
Find a good way,
Yes.
one that opens that you're susceptible to temptation to one of your open doors.
Yep.
Right. So, I mean, there are people who believe if you eat any carbohydrates or whatever, you're going to get sick right away, and it's bad for you. But there's Japanese people and Chinese people that eat rice every day, every meal, every single time.
Yeah.
And some of them live to 110 too. Mm-hmm. So your body is unique. And the experience you're having with your experience is a canary in a sense. You're very sensitive, but you're very sensitive. Mm-hmm. You're sensitive, but you're also sensitive. Sensitive is sensitive.
What do you mean?
You're sensitive to environment, but you're also sensitive to environment. They sound like the exact same thing. They're the exact same words, but they're different. Sensitive meaning you can be impacted by the toxins in the environment easily. Sensitive meaning you can perceive the things in the environment also that other people
more like
have
the senses.
Difficulty with. Right. So is it true that with sensitivity comes sensitivity?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
I seem to notice a tendency for that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I have. I suppose it's one of those things we could evaluate. You know, I have friends who are, I guess, robust would be a good word, right? Mm-hmm. Robust as in, it's cold outside and they're in shorts and a t-shirt, and then you tell them, hey man, it's cold out here, and they go, really?
Oh.
I didn't know. And every day, no matter what it's doing, they're fine. They're not shivering or nothing. They're robust. And they can ingest vast quantities of toxins like alcohol and cigarette. Well, not all cigarettes are probably bad for you, but definitely the kind they smoke are.
Yeah.
And drugs even. And they can do that for 30 years and still exist and not even get sick.
Yeah.
Of course, at some point, they do become overwhelmed, but the point is something that would take you out in a week, they are doing for 40 years and
they're not necessarily sensitive of what's going on the planet.
And they have no idea what's going on the planet or who's
doing what,
where, sensitivity-wise, Mm-hmm. So there might be a connection there too.
Maybe.
More open to means more open to both things. And in a high frequency reality where you're sensitive, you're not going to be exposed sensitively to low frequency inputs.
Right.
Which it might be that you're designed for a high frequency reality, honey.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. And the other day we went to the Rez, I think it was the Rez. Oh, no, Port Angeles. We went to Port Angeles yesterday, and as soon as we started getting close to the city, my energy plummeted from the sense of sadness and despair And it was like, whoa, the frequency that human bodies are giving out after being so badly injured, and many people are losing people, they're like, people are dying left, right and center from unexplained short illnesses.
Yeah.
And it was so intense that I was like, I couldn't even speak, it's like...
I was wondering what cat got your tongue or whatever.
Suddenly it was like...
You were very quiet, honey,
Yeah.
for like an hour.
Yeah, it's like I couldn't even speak. I had to
Just had to race in and get me my frugal burger and my french fry and some propane and a little bit of gasoline.
And we were going to stop to
town.
see a couple of, like double wides.
Oh yeah, we're looking at, because we just can't resist another possible house for the Rez, which we can't have for a couple of years, but we're still going to look. It's still going to well, if we ask and they say it's impossible, then
I didn't say anything, but you just rushed out of there. I don't know, maybe you sensed it too.
Oh,
but
I sensed it.
I was like...
It's like, no, now is not the time for hanging out in town, honey.
Yeah.
Especially to do something that we already know we shouldn't do yet.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And where did we went?
I don't remember. I was just trying to get...
Where we went was the Global Ascension Center.
Oh,
and Mr.
Right.
Rock.
Yeah.
And even there,
it was...
you didn't have
energy or anything.
Energy to even stay. Just had to get me home.
Mm-hmm.
We got home and...
I went on the brown gas machine.
We went on the brown gas for about an hour, and it seemed to revive you.
A little bit. I felt better this morning, but I still feel the enormity of the toxins. Energetic, especially like those waves. I don't know what it is, but it's those wave things. It feels like there's no exit, nowhere to rest from it.
There's no respite.
No.
No respite, yeah.
There's like, we tried the woods, we tried the ocean, we tried different things, and they bring a little bit of comfort, a little bit of positiveness to like support. Mm-hmm. But there's no respite. There's no getting away from it. It's everywhere. That energy is everywhere.
I suppose that's why the Lemurians suggested that you become familiar with it, so you know it, so it doesn't take you by shock and surprise.
Yeah.
I suppose that's why your newsletter, where you discussed it in detail, that you have the choice of react and respond, and react is going to probably be
make it worse.
Not supportive
Mm-hmm.
of a high frequency paradigm. That one of the best things to do, acknowledging that it's an artificially induced toxic environment for a purpose of carrying out a split. For you, as a high frequency embodier, it's not for you.
Right.
But you can see it and alter your response to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't sweep you up, right?
Right.
The ways that it can sweep you up are by holding onto the bank, trying to stop things from changing, keep them the way they are.
Yeah.
That can overwhelm you by isolating yourself from everybody else, so that you're like hiding in a cave. You think nobody's going to be able to bother you or find you or deal with you or anything. You're still going to have this wave come, but you won't have assistance of multiple seers of high frequency saying, oh, hey, what? Guess what? Snap out of it.
Yeah.
And you'll know, oh, something I did last night. We have that Mayu water swirler.
Yeah.
And I put the water in there, and I've been having a hard time with the water because it got dirty.
Yeah, it gets stinky really fast.
It gets stinky because it's growing in there. And so I tried bleach because naturally, I think, what's the strongest thing to get rid of everything? Bleach.
I put it through the washing machine.
Put it in a washing machine.
The dishwasher, I mean. Yeah.
That'll work. It's a ceramic thing in there. The porous thing is filled with something alive that's turned into a swamp.
Yeah.
And I can't get the swamp to go away. And I'm sorry, just drinking swamp water doesn't really taste that good. So I've been ignoring it for a long time, and then I clean it and then let it dry and then try again. I did it like 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 10 times.
Different
Didn't
things,
work.
Yeah.
And last night I had Epiphany. I wish I knew what the German word for epiphany was. I'm guessing it's pretty cool.
Epiphany.
Yeah. Where's your phone, honey? Can you make it say
Epiphany
in German.
Okay, let's see. I don't know if I can use it right now, but let's have a look. Okay.
Epiphany. E-P-I.
Wait. Germany. Oh, I can't do it because we have airplane mode is on.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Turn off. Well, you can't do it on your phone because you're recording us.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you trying to
ding,
do?
Ding dings will
Mess
go
up
off.
our recording?
I know.
Jeez. Okay.
I thought that this was an app that just downloaded the data into your phone, but apparently not. You need to be connected to the cloud for it to work.
Maybe mine will work. Okay, I'm going to say Epiphany in German.
Epiphany in German.
Guess what it is?
What, Epiphany?
Epiphany!
Epiphany.
Oh no. That is definitely...
That's hilarious.
Epiphany.
Epiphany. Epiphany.
It's definitely not what I was expecting.
Epiphany.
Okay, well, it's an epiphany. Anyway,
It's
last
an
night
epiphany.
I took some of Fred's silver, 500 part per million colloidal stuff, and I poured in the water into the mayu, and then I poured in enough to put 5 parts per million in our mayu of silver water, and I turned it on. I said, this will fix it. And anyway, that'll be good because of a very low part per million of silver, and it's just light yellow. And structured water, because we were reading about the structured water in our book last night, remember?
Yeah.
And effect of the silver colloidal on whatever's growing in there anyway, probably clean that out. But when I turned it on and got it going, guess what it created? Double helix swirl.
Oh, it did. Yeah, it did. I've never seen that before.
I have never
It's
seen that
always
before
in
either.
one like vortex kind of. You can see
Yeah,
the
it looks
little
like
vortex.
a whirlpool in the
Yeah,
middle, yeah.
whirlpool.
In
And
this
it's
case,
a double
it made a
helix.
double helix
Yeah.
whirlpool.
Yeah, it did.
And I was like,
That's
oh
pretty
my God. So we drank a half a glass of it each this morning.
Yeah.
And I think it's a new elixir.
Okay. You've invented a new elixir.
A new elixir, yes.
Nice.
That was my epiphany. And it didn't taste like a swamp. And
I did not.
it had double helix energy. It seemed like Neues Elixier.
New elixir.
Neues Elixier.
Nice elixir.
Neues Elixier.
That's the German. So if you have one of these mayus, I recommend you give it a try and see what your results are too, because I'm thinking it's a lot better than swamp water. And
I have to apologize for all the noise that we've been having in the background, but our beautiful Hopi, Dan, and Fred are creating a beautiful deck for us.
an infinity deck.
Yes, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. But they're right here.
He's putting in the rock landing spot.
Oh.
Or whatever you call those things. Those
Pavers.
blocks,
The pavers. Yeah.
Some tile work. It's like a Roman road.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty ideal.
Pretty ideal. Mm-hmm.
And there's the 2 infinities of different levels made out of nice pressure treated lumber. And yeah, the end of it, instead of having a rail, since it's really not far off the ground.
No, it's not very far.
It's just open, so it looks like an infinity pool with no water.
Yeah. An infinity pool with no water.
Yeah, just exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's
Really
fantastic.
beautiful. Yeah, we love it.
And it keeps a lot of the grass out of our house.
It does. Yeah.
Because in the
And
past
it's
we
so
were
nice just to step out there. It's so beautiful.
in the mud. Yeah, and I think you could put a chair out there.
I think so too. Yeah.
So the next thing we got to do, we're going to build a sunroom out of on the deck, on part of it at least.
Yep.
Is that your idea?
Yes, and then lots of plants.
And lots of
And
plants.
lots of ventilation.
So we open the door. Basically, it's a sliding glass door is our front door.
Yep.
Open that door and you're basically inside, outside plant. You live in a greenhouse.
Yes.
Pretty perfect. I mean, if we open our door right now, we live in a greenhouse.
Well,
It
not
literally
greenhouse.
is green everywhere.
It's green everywhere. It's not a house. It's cold and
But
wet.
it's too cold.
And windy.
Windy and wet.
Yeah.
So with a little bit of a sunroom opened up, we'll have the outside, inside, and a temperature that's comfortable.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So do work to make your environment supportive
Beautiful. Yes.
and beautiful and negatively ioned.
Yes.
I think that's good.
Yes.
Anything else on your mind?
I love you, mon chéri.
In French? Do you want me to give you a little bit of help?
mon chéri.
No, you want me to give you a little help?
Okay. I'd say je t'aime, mon chéri.
I love you, honey. Let's see what that is. Oof.
Oof.
Je t'aime, chéri.
Oh, that's what I said. Je t'aime. Je t'aime.
Je t'aime.
Je t'aime. Mon chéri.
Je t'aime, chéri.
Je t'aime, chéri.
Je t'aime, chéri.
Julien, we have to do a French kiss for the end of this one.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know if you guys want to hear that.
No. I don't think they make sense. Like, this is better. Like that. Until next time.
Je t'aime,
Are you complete, honey?
chéri.
Oh, thank you, honey.